going to make the 8 statements.
But they all come at the end after we've sung all the songs.
All of these texts will have the they'll have the bottom of who.
At the end. Yes. No, we don't keep singing.
Okay, here, let me give you an example. We just say, this morning we are mindful of all the people affected by the Hurricane Fiona and Tropical Storm Lan. We are mindful of all those who are continuing the long haul, rebuilding their lives from the floods in Kentucky. We are reminded of how it's going to go on and on for a while. The last one you'll hear is, for these people and many others in name, let us assume the light of healing and peace. We are sending you my right.
All the way through all three.
I'm just wise.
First one.
Yes.
You don't comfortable with the parts.
Oh, okay.
If you're not comfortable with parts, we want to go with security first. And then this is something we're going to do often with boys and considers. So we'll get comfortable with it and then start improvising a little. Okay. And there is one useful thing that's the children's recessional. I'm going to play it and then sing it. Thank you, everybody.
David.
Yes.
After the affirmation, the hymn that we sing is what? Just says hymn. Oh.
That should be the no? Oh, yeah.
Which one is it?
You're right.
From URC?
Yeah, from you guys. So we need to make that.
See, I can't see because I put my glasses on. I can't read. I have to do five.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just say Juliet. That's it. You're invited. No, I'm just wondering. But thank you.
There's a program, and there's also inserts for
Okay.
inserts that aren't inserted.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bill?
There's an insert also.
Yep.
Morning. There's an insert for some morning. A little slow, that's what I understand. Two of them. Like two of them. One to Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. The big one.
Oh, okay.
No, no.
I have one, thank you.
Oh, you have a brochure for me? Okay. There you go. So here's a insert. Here's an insert.
I need to go. I got one of those. Thanks.
Morning, Michael. Here's an insert.
Alright, thank you.
How are you? I've got one.
Fine.
Are you our board person?
Taking Linda Randolph's place because she fell in.
That's right. That's right. Very good. I'm glad to be here. I did, and I called him back, and apparently I must have called the wrong number because I left a message on it. So, we're in email conversation. So, yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that
You got it, Billy?
Good morning. Hope everybody's having a great day. My name's Eddie Chen. I'm one of the board members of the Tennessee Valley Unitarian Universalist Church, and you're welcome here. I'd like to welcome you here on behalf of the board and the program council. You're welcome here, whoever you are, wherever you're from, and wherever you are on your journey. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about TVUUC, please fill out the visitor information card that's located in the backseat pocket or the pew in front of you, and place it in the collection plate when it goes by. Someone will be in touch with you. Now, regarding COVID-19, per the CDC, Knox County's current risk level is low again, which is great for the second week in a row. Let's hear a big hand for that. I hope it keeps on going like that. At this level, masking and vaccinations are encouraged but not required for indoor activities at the church. Or there are no other restrictions. If you'd like to see the complete COVID policy, you can access it through the church website at tvuuc.org. Now, the Lizzie Crozier French room is a designated viewing space for those who feel more comfortable in a smaller venue with people that are masked. Also, room A is a designated viewing space for families with children with masking required for all those age 2 and over. You can also watch our services online. As we move forward, please remember that we are each other's keepers. If you or your family are interested in our youth education program, religious education program, please visit our education table located in the lobby. I think Miriam Davis is manning the table today, and she could answer any of the questions that you need. Now, there's a bunch of announcements today. One from David Massey. We need to focus on the Pride events that are coming this weekend. It's going to be a really busy weekend. There'll be activities designed to celebrate the many accomplishments of the LGBT plus community, the hard-fought right to same-sex marriage, and other struggles of equality. The Pride parade will take place this coming Friday evenings. Standing on the Side of Love, TVUUC members and friends will walk together in the parade from the Civic Coliseum to the north end of Gay Street. We're hoping to provide 2 cars that you can be in the parade even if you're not able to walk in the route. Look for specific instructions in tomorrow's newsletter, or contact David Massey if you'd like to volunteer your car for the parade or to carpool from the church to downtown. Then Pride Fest will take place on Saturday at the World's Fair Park with a lot of vendors, information booths, food, and music. And finally, the Pride Interfaith Service will be held at 2 p.m. on this coming Sunday, October 2nd at the Metropolitan Community Church. Look for news about all these events in tomorrow's newsletter and on the Members and Friends Facebook page. And let's see, also at 12:30 today, there'll be a heart-to-heart meeting for those who are interested in attending. Also, I think that we started football parking this last Sunday. How about them Vols? I believe that we'll be setting up for some of the remaining home games, that we'll be setting up parking in our parking lot again. I believe it's going to be $10 a shot, so it's very economical compared to what they're charging on campus right now. And I think Diane Fox would like to say a few words.
Hi, it's great to see you guys. I am chair of this year's auction, which is so much excitement for the auction. I'm so happy. You guys are making me cry. The auction website is up for donations. We're really encouraging this year for you to have dinners, because dinners are like the best thing that comes out of the auction, in my opinion, because we get to be with each other, we get to meet people that we don't know and people that we do know but haven't seen through this really crazy last couple of years, right? And the auction's all about community, all about being together and offering to our community important both items and particularly ways to be together. If you need instructions on doing anything about the auction, you can go to the TVUC website, and on there are 2 buttons. One of those buttons goes to the instructions, and one of them goes to the auction website. Right now we're looking for donations, and there's also instructions on how to bid. Bidding will start December 1st and run through December 3rd, when we will have a party here. So we will have a gathering for the auction. Yeah, so thanks everybody.
Just a couple more things. After the morning service, please join us for coffee and conversation at the Greg McKendry Fellowship Hall. You could also join in on our Zoom coffee hour. And so now please silence your electronic devices as we enter into worship. David?
Maybe you noticed in your hymnal that in your program that the first hymn doesn't have a title. So it's in the insert, it's the second one, From You I Receive. So the first thing we'll be singing as a group is Touch a Hand, Make a Friend. Then From You I Receive is the first hymn. And later on, for Joys and Concerns, we're adding something new, Sending You Light.
We call on the heavens and earth. We call on the wisdom of the ancestors. We call on the prayers of the generations to come. Help us and guide us. May we enter into this Yom Kippur with open and willing hearts. May we support each other as we face the beauty and the fragility of life. May we stand with each other as we experience life's passing. May we be witnesses for each other, acknowledging that we are loving and compassionate beings, and our words and actions have caused pain and hurt. May the burdens of shame, guilt, and disappointment unwind from our souls so we can turn into the new year free and able to begin again. Let us be channels for compassion and love. Let healing and forgiveness flow through each of us into the world. Amen.
Once again, a reminder that the opening hymn is in your order of service. From you I receive.
One of the most popular customs for Rosh Hashanah, which is the Jewish New Year, is to eat apple slices dipped in honey, sometimes after saying a special prayer. And the apples and honey symbolize the hope for a sweet new year ahead. And the prayer is, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri ha'aretz. We praise you, eternal God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the tree.
It is good to be gathered today in all the ways that we gather, those of us here in this room, those watching from another space in this building or from home. It is good to be together. And I have a traditional story to share with you. It is a Jewish folk tale, And this is kind of a modern retelling of this story. And so it begins with a kid. How many of you have ever known a kid? Or been a kid? Yeah. This kid was somebody who was really creative. And this kid loved stories. Do we have any people here who like stories? And it's really great that this kid was so creative, but sometimes he was creative in not so great ways. Sometimes it was almost like he had all these all these ideas about things that they sort of bled over into real life in a way where he sometimes said things that weren't exactly quite true or the way things really happened. So one day he broke a vase at home and he said, "Oh no, a big wind came in the window and it just blew right over." And he imagined it was so real in his mind that he thought it almost felt like it was what really happened. Well, that was one thing, and that wasn't so great, but sometimes the stories he told and the things that he said that maybe weren't really true, sometimes weren't even really kind, were about people or to other people. And one day he saw a girl who was in his class, and she said, "I am so upset with you." Have you ever been upset? She said, "You were at my best friend's birthday party last weekend, and you told her that I didn't show up probably because I didn't want to be her friend anymore. And now she's so mad at me, she won't even talk to me so I can tell her what really happened. My mom was sick and she forgot to say that we couldn't be there. But I can't tell her. I'm so mad at you." And the kid felt, he was a little surprised. He hadn't meant to say something that would be hurtful. He hadn't meant to cause a problem. He just had imagined that was probably what had happened. Somebody didn't show up. And he began to wonder what he could do. She was so angry. He thought, what can I do to fix this? I want to make it all better. And so he went to visit the rabbi in his town. She was the wisest person he could think of, so he went to talk with her, and she said to him, "Well, I'll tell you what you need to do." And she went and she got the biggest, fluffiest pillow she had, and she handed it to him. Have you ever slept on a really fluffy pillow? She handed it to him, and she said, "Here's what you need to do. You need to take this pillow," and she gave him a pair of scissors also, "and take these scissors. Now walk really carefully with the scissors. Take it to the middle of the town square, and I want you to cut this pillow open and shake it out." Well, the kid thought that was the weirdest thing anybody had ever asked him to do. But he really respected the rabbi, and he didn't want to be rude to her, so he said, "Okay." And so he went out and he walked to the square, and what did he do? He cut the pillow open and shook it out. Now, this pillow was not a memory foam pillow. It was not filled with fiberfill or cotton. Can anybody guess what this pillow was filled with? It was a feather pillow. And when he shook it out, something other than what's happening right now happened. Oh, there we go. When he shook it out, what happened? All the feathers blew out. Now, we're in a room right now where there's not a lot of movement of air, right? So these feathers went straight down. But what do you think happened to the feathers that he shook out of that pillow? He stood there for a while and watched. A few fell down, but some landed on people passing by. He saw one person pick one up and look at it and put it in their pocket and walk away. Most of them, though, were picked up by the wind and started to blow in every direction he could see, further and further away. So then he went back to the rabbi and he said, "Okay, I did what you asked me to do. Now, how does this fix anything?" And some of you might suspect what the rabbi said next. The rabbi said, "Okay, go back to the town square. Here's a basket. Gather all the feathers and bring them back to me." And what did the kid say to that? The kid said, That is completely impossible. I can't possibly find all those feathers. They went every which direction, and I'm pretty sure I saw one person take one away. I don't even know who that was. And the rabbi said, feathers are like your words. Your words are like feathers on the wind. Once they are out in the world, you can never gather them back again. They are out there. So you need to think about what kind of words and what kinds of deeds you put out into the world. Now, the high holy days were coming up, and Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, was soon, and so the kid was continuing to think about what he might do. So he knew, okay, that's right, they're out there. I can't take them back. I've got to be really careful about what I say in the future. But he thought, well, maybe I can do something to atone for at least this one situation. So he went and found the girl in his class and asked her if she would be willing to go with him to the house of her best friend. And so they did. Now, the other girl was playing outside with her cat, and it seemed like the cat might have been playing with a feather. And they went up to the girl, and the kid said, I need to tell you something. I am really sorry. But what I told you about your friend, it wasn't the truth. She did not want to be friends with you anymore. Can you please stop being mad at her? Can you be friends again? And the two friends hugged. And he knew that he hadn't been able to erase the words he had said. And it was really hard to apologize and actually admit that he had said something that wasn't true. Have any of us ever felt like it was hard to apologize when we did something that we wish we hadn't done? Or is it really easy all the time? But he felt better after that. And he resolved to be mindful of the words and actions he put into the world from then on. And that is our story for this morning. And I am going to pick up all of these feathers because they stayed right here. And we are now going to send our leaders and learners who are heading to our other RE spaces for this morning out with our recessional song. Thank you.
Our reading is from a book by Harold Kushner and a chapter that is called Forgiveness is a Favor You Do Yourself. And he's offering a commentary on Leviticus 19:18. And these are the words of Leviticus. You shall not take vengeance or bear a grudge against your neighbor, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. The rabbi writes, Martin Buber cites a Hasidic parable. Imagine yourself peeling an apple. You are holding the apple in your left hand and the knife in your right. The knife slips and cuts into your left hand. It hurts. It is painful and bleeding. What do? Does the left hand grab the knife and stab the right hand to get even? Of course not. Both hands are part of the same person. You would only be hurting yourself a second time. That, says Buber, is why we should not retaliate when someone has treated us badly. If this person broke a law, what that person did to you, the law should handle. But when it comes to a conflict between two individuals, in the eyes of God, all human beings are part of a single body, a single entity, fashioned in the image of God. To deliberately harm another person for hurting you is to harm yourself a second time, for the other person is yourself. I invite you can remain seated for the next hymn, which is kind of a litany where there's spoken parts which will be offered by the choir and we will sing in response. Mindful that this is also a season of autumnal celebrations and indigenous and earth-centered traditions, I offer this reading from Starhawk. Community means strength. We are all longing to go home to some place we have never been, a place half remembered and half envisioned, we can only catch glimpses of from time to time. Community. Somewhere there are people to whom we can speak with passion without having the words catch in our throats. Somewhere a circle of hands will open to receive us. Eyes will light up as we enter. Voices will celebrate with us whenever we come into our own power. Community means strength that joins our strength to do the work that needs to be done. Arms to hold us when we falter, a circle of healing, a circle of friends, some place where we can be free.
We
This morning we are mindful of all the people affected by Hurricane Fiona and Tropical Storm Ian. We are mindful of all of those who are continuing the very long haul work of rebuilding their lives from the floods in Kentucky. We are reminded how it can take years to recover from something that happens suddenly and unexpectedly. That is, what is built over many years can be washed away in a single moment. We are holding in our hearts those who have been in the hospital and those at home in quarantine who are continuing to heal and recover from illness and disease. We are surrounding with love those who have lost loved ones and are for an apology and the right way to make amends. We are mindful of all those who have lived with decades of hurt and hate and homophobia, who are looking forward to waving the rainbow flag and celebrating next weekend at Knoxville's Pride Fest. For these people and many others unnamed, let us send light of healing and wholeness. Join together. We are sending you light to heal you, to hold you. We are sending you light to hold you in love. Amen.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us today. Today is a Generosity Offering Sunday. What that means is that 100% of your contribution that is not marked as a pledge goes to the General Operating Fund of TVUUC. So if today you find that this place speaks to you, we ask you, if you're in a financial place to do so, that you contribute. If you're here in person, you can look in your order of service and find out all the ways to give. If you're watching us online, you can text give to the number 73256, type in TVUUC and the amount you would like to give. Or if you have a Realm account, you can go to your Realm account and give that way. Or if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, any of those platforms, there should be a bar right underneath the screen where you're watching that says give. Click that and it goes straight to our giving platform. So once again, thanks for joining us. Have a wonderful day.
The scripture suggests that from the beginning of time, human beings have not been very good at offering apologies. The book of Genesis tells the story where God approached Adam in the Garden of Eden and said to him, "Did you eat from the tree I forbade you to eat from?" And Adam looks God straight in the eye and says, "It was the woman you put here with me that gave me the fruit." That takes some chutzpah. Because Adam's not only trying to shift the blame to Eve, Adam's shifting the blame to God. So God goes to Eve and says, the same question. And Eve says, "It was the snake who deceived me, who gave me that apple." And here's the thing, the snake doesn't even get a chance to apologize. Might have been a good apology, because the God immediately smites the snake, punishes the snake without a chance to apologize. And snakes have been suffering from PR issues ever since. A lot of people are afraid of snakes, and it comes down to this story. So we don't know, maybe the snake had a good apology, but what we do know is that Adam and Eve neither take responsibility for their own actions or apologize. Now, human beings, if this myth is correct, are not very good at giving apologies. So much so, there is a blog on the internet called Sorry Watch. And what Sorry Watch does is track the very bad apologies that are offered by politicians or celebrities or corporations or other people in the public eye. Indeed, many people who are high profile hire a publicist to write their apologies for them. Now, such professionally written apologies are often an exercise in public relations where the goal is to repair the image of the offender rather than to address the needs and concerns of those who are offended. And spiritually speaking, giving an apology is not something we can ever delegate to a PR firm. Spiritually speaking, that's the work we need to be willing to do ourselves. This evening at sunset is the beginning of the high holy days of the Jewish calendar, which is traditionally set aside for a time of offering apologies and making amends. And in our day and age, offering an apology is a counter-cultural thing to do. Rabbi Daniel Ruttenberg has written a book called On Repentance and Repair, Making Amends in an Unapologetic World. In her book, she suggests, and these are her words, offering an apology goes against many of our cultural and often individual instincts to shift blame, to minimize the problem, to focus on our excellent and pure intentions, to put off uncomfortable conversations to another day. And she notes that it's especially true that offering an apology is countercultural in a litigious society where a lawyer will often give you the advice to deny and defend, and sometimes deny and defend and counterattack. So when we offer an apology, we're swimming against the stream of many of the systems in our culture that are built around the idea that we should never have to say, "I'm sorry." Alexander de Tocqueville wrote in the 1835 book, Democracy in America, that Americans tend to be very individualistic. He wrote, Americans act like they owe no one anything and hardly expect anything from anybody. They form a habit of thinking of themselves in isolation and imagine their destiny is in their own hands. So if this characterization is true, if we really do walk around feeling like we do not owe anybody anything, then certainly we're going to walk around feeling like we do not owe anyone an apology. Now, I'm sure that when the rabbi in the book of Genesis suggests that human beings have a hard time apologizing, I'm sure they mean for present company to be excluded. I'm sure no one in this room has difficulty offering apologies. I'm sure none of us have ever tried to shift the blame. I know that. It can't be true. None of us have ever tried to minimize the problem. None of us have tried to deflect from the issues by focusing on our noble and pure intentions. And I'm sure none of us have ever hunkered down into the deny, defend, counterattack position. Even so, we might benefit from reflecting on how to give a good apology, if only so we can teach others how to do it. Now, Rabbi Ruttenberg tells us that a good apology includes the following ingredients. We need to apologize. We need to own the pain we've caused. Own the pain we've caused. We need to take steps to change our behavior so something similar won't happen again. We need to make amends. And finally, we need to never do it again. Stop it. Stop it. Our goal should not be to make ourselves feel better by apologizing. Our goal should be to make another person feel better. Rabbi Kushner is right. Forgiving is a favor we do ourselves. However, offering an apology is a gift we give to others. It's an other-centered activity. It's not about me. An apology is victim-centered. Whether or not we intended to cause harm is irrelevant. We all cause harm without intending it. Every human being does. Apologizing isn't about being right or wrong. Apologizing isn't about being good or evil. Apologizing is about recognizing and appreciating the importance of a relationship and a desire to restore that relationship and feeling that that's more important than our self-image or our ego or our PR needs. A good apology is the opposite of narcissism. For this reason, offering a good apology is difficult. It's difficult. It involves looking at a situation from another person's perspective, considering another point of view. It requires empathy. It requires us to let go of our ego and focus on someone else. Now, earlier I mentioned the blog Sorry Watch, and this tracks the apologies of the rich and famous, the powerful people. But there is a way to track the apologies closer to home in our daily lives that some irreverent people have created more than one version of it. But if you go online, you can find various versions of bad apology bingo. And there's a list of very different bad apologies people can give. And, you know, if you get 3 or more in a row, that's bingo. So here are some of the things that I would put on my own bingo card if I created one, which I have done. Number 1, an apology that begins with the words, "I'm sorry, but." I'm sorry, but. The early introduction of a qualifier, but, shifts the focus away from the apology and towards some form of self-justification. An apology that begins with "I'm sorry, but" will almost always be translated as "I'm sorry, but I'm not really sorry." "I'm sorry, but" sounds more like making excuses than making amends. An apology that begins with "I'm sorry if you." Once again, the early introduction of a qualifier shifts the focus away from the apology. This time, it often shifts the focus to the other person and the work they need to do, in your opinion. "I am sorry if you were offended." "I'm sorry if you took my actions the wrong way." "I'm sorry if you felt hurt by what I did." The shift is away from our apology and our actions and focusing on someone else and their emotions and their actions, as in the sentence, "I'm sorry if you felt hurt when I beat you up and stole your wallet." So anything that says if you, watch out for those two words, if you definitely don't want to go around telling people if you. An apology often given by politicians and small children is mistakes were made. The apology doesn't include who made these mistakes or what the mistakes were. Another version of this is what happened is regrettable. It doesn't tell you what happened, nor does it tell you who regrets it. Just puts it in big, vague terms. And so a good apology has to be about taking responsibility and has to be very specific. Number 4, if you begin your apology by saying, I feel totally awful, I'm just mortified that I did this, I just feel rotten to the core that I did this. Once again, you're still focusing on yourself. Say, I feel terrible is about me. Instead of focusing on how the other person might feel because of your actions. When a famous politician offered an apology along these lines, I feel terrible, I feel awful, I feel sorry, Watch wrote something in the comment section underneath the speech. It's a very succinct commentary. Here it is, in all caps. Me, I am suffering, me. So sorry, Watts didn't like that apology. Number 5, an apology that begins, I was so drunk. I was just out of my head. I was oblivious. An apology is about taking responsibility for our actions. So if we're in the habit of drinking so much, drinking more than responsible or using some other substance more than is responsible, then we have to take responsibility for our actions and the ways they may have harmed other people. The phrase, I'm oblivious, is a little bit more subtle because I think we've all hurt people without meaning to. I think we've all been oblivious when we do it. But the phrase, if the first phrase that comes out of your mouth was, I'm oblivious, that is the most frequent go-to phrase for narcissists. I was oblivious. Like, it's other people's responsibility to tell me that stomping on your foot hurts you, So that there is some basic elemental level where we are responsible for anticipating how our actions should affect others. And the apology should reflect that fact. Number 6, if we begin our apology by talking about the virtues of forgiveness, if we begin with a little homily about how we're not supposed to forgive people only 7 times, but 7 times 70, or whatever homily you have on forgiveness, once again, that puts the pressure off the work I need to do to apologize and focuses on the work that I think somebody else needs to do, which is forgiveness. So front-loading your apology with a homily on forgiveness, bad apology. Number 7, if we begin our apology by saying something like, I understand your point of view, but right now what we need in America is unity. What we need in the church is unity. What we need in our organization is unity. This is trying to begin at the end of a process. Because unity comes from the hard work of making amends. Unity comes from the hard work of offering apologies. Also, number 8, if we apologize with our words but not our body language, if we say, I'm sorry, and our eyes are rolling up into our skulls, or we're gritting our teeth or biting our tongue, that's not a very good apology, We need our body language and our spoken language to be in alignment. And finally, when we apologize, if we say, it was the woman you put here with me, that made me do it, or it was the snake that made me do it, shifting the blame to someone else. That's not a good apology either, although human beings have a tendency to do it. As Randy Pausch once said in the last lecture, a good apology is an antibiotic. A bad apology is rubbing salt in a wound. So it's important for all of us to learn the art of offering a good apology, because none of us want to be guilty of rubbing salt in somebody's wounds. We don't want to do that. Nobody in this room wants to do that. And yet we do it unintentionally. So the goal is to have a good apology. However, if we're on the receiving end of bad apologies and we get more than 3, well, that's bingo. So you can make the best of that. But, looking over this list of bad apologies, I realize I'm not always on the receiving end of bad apologies. I'm on the giving end of bad apologies. And I have definitely played some of those cards. However, as Rabbi Rutenberg reminds us, offering an apology is not self-flagellation. Offering an apology is not self-flagellation, because self-flagellation is still about me. It's about how me and my suffering, me and my hurt. And we're supposed to prioritize other people. Indeed, in the rabbinic tradition, if it would do us good to offer an apology but would harm the other person to offer an apology, we should not give that apology. Because the point is to do something that's helpful for someone else. So if it would make you just feel just a lot better to offer an apology, but it would just harm the other person, don't do it. It's not about you. Apologies are not about us. So let's take a moment this morning to think about someone other than ourselves, to reflect on how our actions have impacted other people, to prioritize someone else, and by so doing, do something countercultural. Something countercultural. We're in the midst of the high holy days, a time of making amends. So let's remember what Rabbi Rutenberg tells us, that a good apology includes the following ingredients. We need to apologize. We need to own the pain we've caused. We need to take steps to change our behavior so something similar won't happen again. We need to make amends. And finally, we need to never do it again. Never do it again. So in conclusion, I want to tell you a story about this week. I was up in Cades Cove in the Great Smoky Mountain National Park, and I came across a ranger who had set up a booth to teach everyone about all the snakes that live in the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. And you can tell that this was part of an effort to help people overcome fears of snake. Doris Gove does this a lot with kids, bring snakes into the classroom, help them overcome that somehow irrational fear of snakes. And they were trying to counter that statement that you sometimes hear, the only good snake is a dead snake. And the sign on their booth said, the only good human being is an educated human being. So I hope we all leave here today a little better educated. I hope we leave here today better educated about how to offer an apology, how to make amends, how to restore relationships. I hope we leave today with a deeper understanding of how to be kind to snakes and to each other. So may it be. I invite you to stand in body or spirit, rise in body or spirit for hymn 217, Oh Sing Hallelujah.
This hymn will begin with a solo in the Hebrew that's originally associated with this melody. And then after that, join in with the choir.
v'hanenu Avinu malchenu kanenu v'hanenu ki ein benu mashim asei manu tzedakah v'chesed asei manu tzedakah kaveh v'ashienu sing hallelujah oh sing hallelujah oh praise be to you the Lord of the heavens praise be the Son who has fallen by trumpet harp and lute with cymbals and strings and flute with dancing singing and music we praise you sing hallelujah sing hallelujah sing hallelujah our Father and Mother and Sovereign all mercies we wish you deep rid of the world by trumpet harp and lute with cymbals and strings and flute with dancing singing and music we praise you sing hallelujah sing hallelujah sing hallelujah our Father and Mother and Sovereign all mercies destroy us of pages of blood by trumpet harp and lute with cymbals and strings and flute with dancing singing and music we praise you sing
Prophetic Church, the world awaits our humble and apologetic ministry. Go forward in the power of love, proclaim the truth that makes us free. Go in peace. As our last act of worship, I invite you to turn and greet your neighbor.
Hello, neighbor. I'm Ken.
Thank you.